Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to be looking at the McFarlane DC Multiverse Bane Megafigure. A Megafigure is essentially a 7-inch scale figure that's large and oversized and can't fit in the traditional packaging. They usually run about $40, and they're always freaking awesome. I got this guy from the McFarlane toy store, really excited for him, and he finally arrived today. So let's go and check out the packaging. As you can see at the top, ages 12 plus, DC Multiverse Bane. Here he is in the package. Looks like no traditional accessories, just a display stand and a collector's card. One side of the package simply says Bane. Other side, Bane. The bottom, got a bunch of credits, and there is a barcode, in case that helps anybody. And on the back side, here's Bane with his venom tubes. So with no further ado, let's open him up. And like I said before, I got this guy from the McFarlane toy store. I got the bundle with Bane, Talon, and Necron. Between that and the coupon code, ends up being about retail price after shipping. Alright, now that we got this figure out of the package, here he is with all his accessories laid out. He comes with a display stand and a collector's card. No traditional accessories, which is a little bit disappointing. But what does Bane need to come with? Just these hands. Before we take a look at his accessories, let's talk about and check out the actual figure. So this is Bane. I don't believe he's from Nightfall. I think he's from the Rebirth comics, but he's in his classic, iconic look. Some people might say this Bane is too big, but I would have it no other way. This guy is jacked. He looks amazing. When I first saw the figure, I was really excited, but then I started to think, $40 for this Bane seems a little much, but boy, this guy is awesome, worth every penny. So let's take a look. Start with his face here. He's got the signature Bane luchador mask. The white in the middle, the black on the sides, the red eyes. It looks great. On the back, he's got these venom tubes going into his head. It connects to this sort of canister on his back, obviously containing venom. Some green tubes, large tube in the middle. It all looks so good. Another tube in his arm here. He's got the button for his venom. He's got his sort of tank top. Then he's got this harness on top of it. That's the only thing that doesn't scream Nightfall to me. He has 2 open hands. They'll be great for breaking the bat. Now, it would be nice if he had some fisted hands. And I'm already seeing some custom versions out there for sale. I don't need to buy any fisted hands. They're going to cost more than half as much as Bane. He's got that signature belt. The red in the middle. Cargo pants. Nice texturing on the pants. It is single jointed elbows. Looks like there's going to be rotation there. Double jointed knees. Large combat boots. Heavy duty Bane. Looking amazing. McFarlane's trying to make up for Last Night on Earth. Well, you did the trick. And then, just a closer look at his face and head sculpt. The mask is great. That sculpted line down the middle. It all looks just fantastic. Now let's check out his accessories, and let's start off with the boring stuff. Here's his display stand. Typical McFarlane stand, black perfect circle. Says DC on the bottom. It's got 1 peg for the peg holes on his feet. It's very thin, very basic. Now let's look at his collector's card. As you can see, it's an image of Bane from the comics. He's got those venom tubes in the back. Almost looks like venom dripping out of his mouth. Green veins. Bane. On the back side, there is a description. If you want to read that, go ahead and pause now. Now they've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his lack of accessories. Now let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, he's staying at about 8.9 inches tall, which can translate to about 22.5 centimeters. And if you go to the top of his tubes, about 9.6 inches tall. Now let's check out his articulation. Start with his head here. Of course, you can rotate from side to side. You won't be able to turn it all the way around or you're going to break those tubes. But why would you ever want to do that? Head goes up about that far, down about that far. He doesn't really look up, but he's going to be able to look down to those opponents. And he's going to be above all of them. Shoulders on a ball joint goes up about 90 degrees. Up, down, around, all that good stuff. There's no butterfly joint between his shoulder and chest area, but the gap is pretty tight and covered up. No bicep cut. Single jointed elbow. Doesn't even go in a full 90 degrees. His muscles obstruct that. It does have rotation. His wrists rotate. It's going to be hinged. In his torso here, it feels like it's one solid piece. Looks like we got waist swivel, forward and back, rotate around. His legs completely does the splits. Not a ball joint, but a similar type concept. Rotation is almost non-existent. They go forward that far, back about that much. Double jointed knees, they go all the way back. Then his ankle here, forward and back. Tilt rock. Doesn't seem to have quite the traditional rotation. And then toe articulation. It starts off with a bruised and nearly broken Batman. He's at the Batcave doing research. He's been fighting his rogues for the past few months as Bane's been studying his every move and weakening him. Bane surprises Batman in the Batcave. He's very weak, but he stands up to fight. Bane then jacks himself full of venom, towering over Batman. It's in this moment that Bane lifts Batman above his head, and finally, he breaks him. Breaks his back over his knee like it's nothing. Bane comes to the rooftops of Gotham, lifts Batman above his head. He says, "I am Bane. The city is mine. Batman is no more. I have destroyed him. I rule these streets. I rule Gotham. Here is your hero, your protector. Take him and bury him." Bane proceeds to throw Batman off the top of the building. Batman lands on the ground. Police are surrounding the area. Commissioner Gordon, Bullock, and Montoya, and a bunch of other GCPD officers are looking down at this broken, bloody Batman. An ambulance comes. They load Batman up and drive away. Little do the police know, it's actually Alfred and Jean Paul Valley saving Bruce. A while later, as Azrael has donned the mantle of the Bat, he finally takes on Bane. He starts off by immediately launching batarangs all over Bane. After a long, drawn-out, bloody fight, Azrael gets the upper hand. Azrael wins. He's about to strike that killing blow at Bane. And right before Azrael kills Bane, he stops, drops him down, says, "No, you're broken, Bane. Blackgate Prison can hold the pieces." Commissioner Gordon looks and thinks, maybe it is still him. Maybe it is still our Batman. Now let's check him out, next to some other action figures. Starting off with some other Bane figures. Here's this new Bane, next to the Batman Last Night on Earth Bane. That Bane was a Build-A-Figure. The Bane looked kind of like a zombie. His skin was gray, and it wasn't even that gray in the source material. That Bane is big and jacked as well. Not nearly as tall. This new one is a lot leaner, taller. He's jacked up on venom. Old one also had problems of not staying together properly, falling apart. Articulation was minimal at best. This new one doesn't have super articulated body, but still a huge improvement of this one. Here's this McFarlane Megafigure Bane next to a Storm Collectibles Injustice Bane. They're pretty much the exact same height. And here he is next to a Mattel DC Universe Classics Build-A-Figure Bane. This is probably my favorite Bane in my collection. The new one might overthrow him. The new one's just a little bit too big. I kind of thought I could use this DC Universe Classics Bane as Bane, regular with no venom, and then the McFarlane one with him jacked up on venom. I mean, look at the scaling. The Mattel one is still bigger than a McFarlane Batman figure, so it works. Then, with the DC Direct Nightfall Bane, and next to a Mattel DC Superheroes Bane. Here he is, next to a Tom Hardy Dark Knight Rises movie Bane. Can you believe these guys are the same character? Here's this McFarlane Bane, next to all of my DC Direct and DC Collectibles Bane figures. Then, next to all of my Mattel regular Bane figures. And here, with all of my movie Bane figures. These are all by Mattel. And now, next to a Mafex Bane. Here's this Bane, next to a couple of older Kenner Bane figures. Here are all the different Bane figures that I have. I believe I have every single one of them in the 6 and 7 inch scale. Here's Bane, holding his teddy bear Osito. Here's Bane, next to some custom henchmen, Zombie, Trog, and Bird. These were his signature henchmen in the Nightfall storyline. They haven't really used them very much else in the comics. These guys are due for a comeback. And here's Bane, next to a custom Bird from Arkham Origins, a different version of the same character. Now let's check him out, next to some other McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is, next to my most recent acquisition. This is the Nightfall, Azrael, and Batman armor. This guy's a Walmart exclusive, and I just found him today. What are the odds getting Bane and Azrael the exact same day? Here's Bane, next to Necron. He's the other mega figure in this wave. And here he is, next to Talon from Court of Owls. Here's Necron, Bane, and Talon. These three figures came in the bundle from McFarlane Toy Store. Here's Bane, next to the Year 2 Batman. This is the closest thing to a Nightfall Batman McFarlane has made so far. I hope they release one of those. Then, next to the Rebirth Batman, I believe this Bane is actually from the Rebirth era of comics. He is huge compared to this Batman. Here's Bane, next to the three Jokers Batman. A little bigger Batman, but it's still super small compared to this massive Bane. Here's Bane, just holding Batman at bay as he's trying to run and punch him. Here's Bane, next to several other Batman figures. These are all from the comics. Then, next to some more Batman figures. These are from different various forms of media. Here are all the different Batman villains McFarlane has made in their normal, modern comic looks. Not counting the video games and the movies. McFarlane has a lot of catching up to do. We only have these 5 figures. Deathstroke's the next one to add to the list. And now let's check him out, next to some other McFarlane DC Megafigures. Here's Bane, next to the Black Adam figures. We have Atom Smasher and Sabak. These are the 2 most recent Mega figures before Bane and Necron. And before those, they gave us the Arkham Asylum Killer Croc and the Rebirth Man-Bat. And before that, the Rebirth Clayface and the Arkham Asylum Titan Joker. Man, these Mega figures are awesome. Here's Bane next to Swamp Thing. You might think Bane's big, but just look at that Swamp Thing. Here he is with the Walmart exclusive King Shark. This guy was a Mega figure also. And here's Bane next to the first wave of Mega figures, Steppenwolf and Darkseid from Zack Snyder's Justice League. Now let's check them out, next to some Mega figures from different McFarlane lines. Here are all the Mega figures from the Spawn line: Violator, Cygor, Manga Spawn, Overt Kill, and Bloody Violator. Then, next to McFarlane's Witcher Mega figures, the video game figures on the left, and the TV show figures on the right. And finally, next to a couple of Fezzik figures from Princess Bride. These guys are also Mega figures, and are actually a little bit taller than Bane. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, to see how he fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane toy, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the large action figure lines I collect, and work way smaller. But first, let's check him out with some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. Then, with some more McFarlane toys, these are from different various video game properties. And now, standing next to some Jack-specific wrestling figures, and here he is, next to some DST or Diamond Select toys. Then, next to some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures, and here, with some NECA figures. Then, next to some Mattel wrestling figures. And now, next to some Jazzwares, AEW wrestlers. And speaking of wrestling figures, here are a few recently released wrestling figures that I think would make for some great Bane henchmen, both by Mattel and Jazzwares. And here he is, next to some Mezco 112 collective figures. Then, next to some Mattel, DC Universe Classics, and Multiverse figures. And here, next to some Mafex figures. Then, with some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And here he is, next to some SH Figure Arts action figures. And finally, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, this is a fantastic Bane figure. Sculpt and paint job are excellent, no issues there. His articulation, could be a little better. Wouldn't mind a little bit more range of motions with the shoulders and elbows. Double jointed elbows, they might not look as good, but it'll give you a lot more poses. And a bicep cut, butterfly joint, would have been nice. The accessories are non-existent, and he really should have come with some fisted hands. I don't know if any of the Mega figures have had alternate hands, but Bane really needs some fists. Don't get me wrong, if I had to pick one pair of hands, these would be the hands. If I were to rate this guy, I'm going to give him a very solid 8.5 out of 10. The other issue you might have, he's just a little bit too big. But this is Bane jacked off Venom. For my personal uses, I'm going to use my DC Universe Classics Bane as Bane with no drugs. And this is going to be Bane huge on Venom. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add it in the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.